26 years ago today, December 8th, 1997, Cleveland Indians signed two free agents, former Mets pitcher Dwight Gooden and Kenny Lofton returned back to the Tribe after a year with the Atlanta Braves. Kind of think it was planned to take a year away and come back. It almost seemed too orchestrated, but loved Kenny Lofton. What a great player. What a great era for Cleveland Indians baseball. Go Tribe.
You're watching Cleveland's home team. This is Channel 43's 10 o'clock news.
I guess, first of all, I can say I'm glad to be back.
And it sure looks like Cleveland and the Indians are glad Kenny's coming home. Kenny Lofton returns to the Tribe in a blockbuster day of wahoo, wheelin', and dealin'. Good evening. A fan favorite returns to the Tribe lineup, and some new pitchers will charge into the bullpen.
But that, of course, means some other players have to go. Our home team coverage starts with Gary Mendelow, who's here to tell us exactly all the trading that went on today.
You know, it's definitely a cliche, but it's a soap opera. I mean, Kenny leaves, Kenny comes back. It's as the baseball turns.
Look at that.
And I mean, it really is turning pretty well for the Tribe, I think.
It is.
I think
It looks
they're doing
good.
pretty well with these deals. All right, so much has happened today. We need to break it all down and take it one player at a time. Again, it's Kenny Lofton back in a Tribe uniform after signing a 3-year contract today. Also coming to Cleveland via the free agent market is right-handed starter Dwight "Doc" Gooden. Now the trades. Center fielder Marquise Grissom and pitcher Jeff Juden are now Milwaukee Brewers, with the Tribe getting 3 pitchers in return. Starter Ben McDonald, who has had shoulder problems but is apparently better now. And relievers Mike Fetters and Ron Vallone. Fetters was taken and shipped to Oakland for starter Steve Karsay, who led the A's in starts and strikeouts but had just a 3-12 record with a 5.77 ERA. Clearly Lofton, the main man today, returning to Cleveland after one season in Atlanta. It's a strange twist as he gets a 3-year, $24 million contract when he apparently turned down a longer-term deal that some say was as high as 4 years at $10 million a season before the trade to Atlanta. Anyway, Lofton says that's all behind him, and he's feeling great about the way it all worked out.
My family is very excited about this, and I'm glad to be back where I belong. Everyone knows I belong here. I know I belong here, and hopefully I'll be here for the rest of my career.
It takes a big name to make Dwight Gooden not the top story, but the Doc is still big news here in Cleveland. He's also happy about moving from the Yankees to Cleveland. He gets a chance to be on the team that beat him in the playoffs.
I'm very excited joining the Indians, organization, bringing my wife and my family here. I've known John a long time, and I know how competitive he is. The Indians, like he said, they've been very close, for his winning it all. And I just want to be a piece of that puzzle that helped it all happen. And I'm very excited also to see Kenny's coming back here also, where he'll be behind me instead of I have to face him.
All I can say is John Hart's first name should be your first name. Then we could definitely call him Trader Jack, because the guy is amazing the way he pulls the strings. Now the question is, are we going to get a new second baseman, or are they going to go with Enrique Wilson at second, the supposed to be rookie?
Right.
So the trading hasn't stopped, I guess.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Rumors about Robbie Alomar. Maybe,
Robbie Alomar, possibly Jose Mesa going to Baltimore. That's been talked about. But, again, that's just rumor, and we're going to have a lot more reaction coming up on Sports Extra about 10:45.
This is the McDonald's Sports Extra with Gary Mendelow, brought to you by McDonald's.
Hi, how are you? And welcome to the wrap-up of a wild day of wheeling and dealing for the Indians. We're going to recap things step by step with all the new faces and guys trading places. The biggest news, the return of Kenny Lofton via the free agent market, and the Tribe also signed right-handed starter Doc Gooden as a free agent. Now the trades, Marquise Grissom and Jeff Juden to Milwaukee for right-handed starter Ben McDonald and relievers Mike Fetters and Ron Vallone. Then Fetters was traded to Oakland for another right-handed starter in Steve Karsay. And we'll even have some more Tribe news coming up for you. But when you break it down piece by piece, Kenny's comeback to Cleveland definitely tops the list. David Bacon spent the afternoon and early evening at Jacobs Field, and he has the story of his return.
Selected to start but unable to play, outfielder Kenny Lofton.
Believe it or not, this scene back in July at the All-Star game at Jacobs Field was actually the beginning of Kenny Lofton's return to the Indians.
I think it really clicked when I kind of realized what Cleveland's like, what the fans are like here. I mean, I thought about the All-Star game coming back here and just seeing the support that I had that I got, it was unspeakable, and I just felt like, hey, this is a place where I need to be, that I feel comfortable with, and I will always get the support.
Kenny Lofton really wanted to return here to Jacobs Field and be a part of the Indians again. His agent says that he turned down several other offers that were better, including one that was a guaranteed 5-year deal. Lofton said he felt he belonged here.
I'm glad to be back where I belong. Everyone knows I belong here. I know I belong here, and hopefully I'll be here for the rest of my career.
Lofton signed a 3-year deal for $24 million with a club option for a 4th year. His family played a major role in his decision to return.
My family was going crazy when I told them I had a chance to go back to Cleveland, and they didn't even give me a chance to even say the terms or anything, but they was like, go, and I was like, come on, y'all. Give me a break. It's like, because some of them never took their stuff down with the Indians. Some of them still have their license plate frames around the cars.
John Hart is happy to have Lofton back driving the Indians' offensive machine. He handed Kenny his old number 7 back, knowing the Indians had filled a big need.
Kenny Lofton is the best leadoff hitter in baseball. Kenny had another monster year. He had 330, he had, 360 or 370 with runners in scoring position. I mean, he's a gifted player, on base percentage close to 400.
The Indians know what they're getting in Kenny Lofton, and they couldn't be happier. David Bacon for Sports Extra.
Thank you, David. And who says you can never go home again? And as expected for the last couple of weeks, the Tribe will have a doctor in the house this season. 33-year-old starter Dwight, call me Doc Gooden. The Indians get a veteran right-handed pitcher who has already won 2 World Series with the Mets in '86 and the Yankees in '96. Gooden, who pitched well last year for the Yanks, including a playoff stint against the Indians, was bothered at the start of the year by a hernia operation. He's happy and healthy now, signing a 2-year contract worth over $5.6 million.
My main thing is to help him, win the World Series. And when I was talking to John, he was like, okay, we agreed on the 2-year and the option. To me, that's the start. I would like to finish my career here, and I think I have 6, 7, or maybe 8 years left, and we'll just see why that takes it from here.
Doc is a great competitor. He's a great human being, and I think he's the type of pitcher that we're looking for. He's going to give us innings, and he's going to compete every 5th day.
Let's see, 33 plus 8, that's 41. He wants to pitch into his 40s for Doc Gooden. That's interesting. John Hart said it himself. A bit of a downer in all this news is that Marquise Grissom is gone. Grissom is a hard-working, mild-mannered team player that really helped the Indians a lot. He had 262 with 22 steals during the regular year, then picked it up to 292 for the postseason, including 360 in the World Series. And he won a Gold Glove, but Grissom isn't a pure leadoff hitter like Lofton, and his $25 million 5-year contract was too much to keep as an extra outfielder, especially when the Indians could get more pitching help. And as part of the Milwaukee deal, the Tribe jettisoned Jeff Juden, who just really never seemed to quite fit into the Indians' plans. So, Big Ben McDonald is a talented righty coming from the Brewers. Partly due to injuries, he's never tapped into his full potential in Baltimore or Milwaukee. McDonald is a 6'7" power pitcher with a wicked curveball. He was 8-7 last year with a 4 ERA for the Brewers, but made only 21 starts due to arm trouble. His season ended with arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder, but word is he'll be ready to pitch again.
The surgery was a success. Many guys have had this surgery. Scopes down on their shoulders and come back and pitch real well from it. I consider myself as a real hard worker, and I expect to make a full recovery from it.
Ben McDonald is certainly a front of the rotation starter that we needed, and you put that together with obviously with Doc and Chuck Nagy and Jared Wright and Chad Ojay and Steve Carsey and Bartolo Colon. We have been able to replenish the depth of pitching as well as the quality.
The Indians also acquired 33-year-old reliever Mike Fetters from Milwaukee. Fetters had 32 saves in '96, but never regained that form last year, losing the job to former Indian Doug Jones. But Fetters was immediately sent to Oakland for right-handed pitcher Steve Carsey. Carsey, 25 years old, stands 6'3". He was 3-12 with a 5.77 ERA in 24 starts for the A's last year.
Steve Carsey is a young starter that has had some arm problems a couple of years ago, had his first year back. We think this is a young, powerful, dynamic starting pitcher that is going to help this franchise for years to come.
It's the Sports Extra / John Hart show tonight. Now, Ron Vallone will be 28 in January. He's a lefty who threw pretty well for the Brew Crew in '97. Vallone worked 52 innings, struck out 40. He was 1-0, a 3.4 ERA. That was out of the bullpen. Now, last night at midnight, the Tribe said so long to 3 key players from the '97 drive to the World Series: Oral Hershiser, Bip Roberts, and Tony Fernandez. Even with Gooden, Hershiser will be tough to replace. He was 45-21 in 3 years with the Tribe and meant tons to the team with his personality off the field. Hershiser is 39, but Tampa Bay and San Francisco are reportedly seeking his services. Now, Roberts was acquired August 31st. He helped in a stretch drive by leading off and playing second base and left field. He thought he'd found a home in Cleveland, but now another trip to Detroit, Anaheim, or Seattle seems like what is next. Tony Fernandez has already found a new old home. The reason I say old is Fernandez is returning to Toronto for a 3rd time. Fernandez, who was 35 at 286 for the Tribe last year, 11 homers, 44 RBIs. He had lots of key hits for the Tribe in the postseason, but also made that 9th inning error that helped open the gates to a Florida win in Game 7 of the World Series. Fernandez gets a $2.5 million deal with the Jays. He played there in '83 to '90, and then again briefly in '93. All right, it looks like the Tribe is going to retain the services of reserve catcher Pat Borders. They offered him arbitration by the midnight deadline last night. Borders did a great job filling in for Sandy Alomar during the regular season, hit .296, didn't get into any of the 18 playoff games. In summary, John Hart has pulled off one of the best trades in baseball history. 8 months ago, he got Justice and Grissom for Lofton, who he then re-signed today before trading Grissom for pitching. That is some dealing. It's like getting something for nothing.